The air in the private dining room, usually filled with laughter and nostalgic chatter, suddenly thickened with an unspoken dread as plates laden with delicacies were brought out. A collective unease settled over the long-awaited class reunion. We, the former students of Oakwood High, were about to confront a horror far beyond our wildest nightmares, orchestrated by a mind twisted by past injustices. This wasn't just a reunion. It was a carefully laid trap, a stage for vengeance. Amidst the convivial atmosphere of our class reunion at a luxurious private villa in the Greenwood estate, my phone buzzed with an ominous message. Do not drink the orange juice. It contains a deadly poison. The killer is the one in the gray hoodie. Everyone present will die. My blood ran cold. The only person in a gray hoodie in that room was me. Heather, our former class beauty queen, paused mid-pour, her hand frozen over a pitcher of orange juice. She stared at her phone, then at the juice. What the hell is this? Is the orange juice in my hand poisoned? She brought the glass to her nose, sniffing. Doesn't smell like anything strange. Isn't this just regular orange juice? Despite her brave front, everyone subtly pushed their glasses away. Heather's face tightened with displeasure. Come on, guys. How old are you? Believing this nonsense? It's just a prank. Liam, our former class academic representative, quickly chimed in, rushing to Heather's defense. Everyone knew he had a crush on her. Seeing Heather embarrassed, he stepped forward to diffuse the tension. It's definitely a prank. Heather poured this herself. If you won't drink it, I will. He grabbed the glass in front of him and chugged it down without a second thought. The very next second, his whole body began to convulse. His eyes rolled back, and he collapsed, seizing on the floor. Liam writhed in agony, clutching his mouth, blood oozing from between his fingers. He gasped out, "Poison." Panic erupted. It took a long moment for anyone to react, but finally someone shouted, "Call an ambulance!" Just as I reached for my phone, Liam suddenly sprang up, laughing maniacally, wiping away the fake blood from his mouth. "Scared you, didn't I? Ha ha ha, it was just a little red wine. You guys are so easily scared. I told you it was a big prank." Heather, whose face had been ashen, finally let out a breath of relief. She raised her hand and playfully punched Liam's chest. "You idiot. Don't ever joke like that again." But as her fist connected, Liam's face went white. He clutched his chest and collapsed again. Heather frowned. "Don't overdo it. You're being childish." Liam just lay there, clutching his chest in pain. Chris, our former class president standing nearby, nudged him with his foot twice. "Hey, aren't you bored? Aren't you tired of acting?" Liam moaned. "Help me. Help me." "Something's wrong. Liam has a heart condition," someone screamed. Only then did everyone remember Liam had a congenital heart condition and had nearly died from it 2 years prior. Chris bent down to perform first aid, but Liam's next words made everyone want to hit him. He mumbled, "My heart hurts so much, Heather. Rub it for me, then it'll be better." The prank was finally over. Liam, realizing he had gone too far, quickly apologized. By now, all the dishes had been served. Chris, the class president, raised his glass. "This is our first reunion in years, and so many of us are here. Let's raise our glasses." I glanced at the orange juice on the table. Though I normally didn't drink alcohol this time, I picked up a glass of red wine, quietly observing. More than half the people present hadn't touched the orange juice. Everyone understood that when Liam had collapsed, he had vomited all the orange juice out. He said it was a joke, but he hadn't truly drunk it. Only 2 people had actually consumed the orange juice. One was Grace, sitting diagonally to my left. She was allergic to alcohol, and at that moment there were no other drinks available, so she reluctantly took a small sip. The other was Leo, sitting next to me. He had a straightforward personality. When he received the message, he was the loudest to scoff. Even when calling the number resulted in "number not found," he still believed it was a prank. Therefore, these 2 were the first to die that night. Grace and Leo collapsed, blood gushing from their orifices. Chaos erupted. I pulled out my phone to call 911, only to find there was no signal. More terrifyingly, outside the villa, the rain began to pour like a deluge. A flash of lightning illuminated the blood-soaked faces of Grace and Leo, making them look utterly horrifying. Liam, standing nearby, was frozen with fear. He had also drunk the orange juice, and though he had vomited, he desperately tried to force more out of his throat. By the window, Chris spoke up, trying to calm the situation. "Everyone, don't panic. Grace might not be poisoned. Maybe it's just her illness acting up. She's always been frail." I pointed at Leo. "What about him? They can't both coincidentally have an attack, can they?" Chris fell silent. "It must be the person who sent the message," someone exclaimed, holding up their phone. "Quickly, find out whose number this is." I stared intently at the number on the screen until someone gasped. Isn't that Sarah's?" "Don't say it. That's too unlucky. She died a long time ago." Inside the villa, there was no signal. Outside, the wind howled and the rain lashed down. Chris suggested keeping the scene intact, waiting for the rain to stop, then calling for rescue. Everyone nodded, intending to return to their rooms, when they noticed Liam, who had been vomiting by the window, was suddenly motionless. The window was still open and rain drenched him. Ethan, the closest, rushed to push him. Liam toppled over, soaked, his eyes wide, his long red tongue lolling out. He wasn't breathing. Heather slumped to the floor, terrified. She, too, had drunk the orange juice. Just then, we received a second message. "The wine is also poisoned. The antidote is on the girl with the red nail polish. You only have 10 minutes." Before the reunion, Heather had invited me to get our nails done. I chose black and white. She chose red. Heather frantically protested. "I don't know anything. I don't have any antidote." She ripped off her jacket, every pocket was searched. Her handbag was emptied. Nothing. Chris stared at the short dress she was wearing. "Take off your dress." "Are you crazy?" she shrieked. "I'm wearing a spaghetti strap dress. Where could I hide an antidote?" But the message explicitly said, "The antidote is on the woman with red nail polish." And Heather was the only one. "Heather, are you trying to kill us all?" The 10-minute countdown had already passed halfway. Everyone, now desperate, began to pressure Heather to strip. Heather, always proud and arrogant, had entered the entertainment industry 7 years ago after graduation. Though currently an unknown, she was convinced she'd become a big star. "No way. These ridiculous messages are fake. You dirty men are just playing tricks, wanting to see me naked, right? Dream on. You frogs want to eat swan meat." Heather snatched her jacket and bag from the floor. "Get out of my way! I'm not playing anymore!" She tried to open the door to leave, but was blocked by 2 male students. Chris glared at her menacingly. "What's so hard about taking off clothes? You entertainment industry people strip all the time, don't you?" He lowered his voice, sneering. "Don't you remember the photos you took for money back then? Don't think we haven't seen them." "Shut up." Heather almost burst into tears. People in the glamorous spotlight hated nothing more than having their dark pasts brought up. Others began to chime in. "Quickly, take it off. Do you want to kill us all?" At this point, I stepped forward. "I'll go with her to the restroom." Chris blocked me. "Dream on. Who knows if you two will hide the antidote and swallow it yourselves. Take it off right here, right now. If you delay any longer, we'll all die." Heather stood among the crowd, torn between her last shred of dignity and the thought that she too had drunk the poisoned wine. Faced with choosing between face and life, she hesitated. Finally, under everyone's gaze, she pulled down the zipper of her dress. But inside, there was no antidote. "Bra, panties! Take them all off! Hurry!" Heather stood in the crowd like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. She desperately closed her eyes, removing the last 2 pieces of fabric. Finally, in the foam padding of her bra, a tiny pill was found. After taking the pill, everyone gradually calmed down. Just as everyone was silently rejoicing at their survival, all our phones vibrated simultaneously. I quickly pulled out mine, but the moment I saw the message, everyone froze, stunned. The message read, "The wine was not poisoned. The antidote was just a vitamin pill. The game has begun. Have fun." Upon seeing this, Heather shrieked and fainted on the spot. Outside, the rain grew heavier. Suddenly, a violent rumble shook the villa we were in. A dizzying sensation swept over me. I felt myself fall several meters. We're dead. Due to the heavy rain, the foundation had collapsed from a landslide. The villa sank several meters deep. Rain poured in like a waterfall. Windows all around were blocked by earth and rocks. The water level rose. "Second floor!" someone screamed. The crowd frantically rushed upstairs, but when they reached the staircase, everyone froze. The door to the second floor was locked tight. At the same moment, we received the next message. "I don't like crowded places. Among those remaining, 5 must volunteer to sacrifice their lives. Otherwise, the door will not open." Immediately, my phone vibrated twice. A private message, only for me, appeared. "The second drawer of the brown bookshelf holds what you desire." Are you crazy? Who would volunteer to die? I didn't believe the door wouldn't open. 2 male students rushed forward, kicking violently at the door. The water was already waist deep, but the door wouldn't budge. Chris looked at Heather, who was still unconscious. "The first to volunteer is Heather. Anyone object? Raise your hand." Everyone looked at each other. No one raised a hand. "All right," passed unanimously. "But there are still 4 more. What should we do? Anyone else volunteer?" Chris glanced around at everyone, whose heads were bowed. The water was now above our waists. Someone in the crowd muttered, "Olivia has cancer. She's going to die soon anyway. I think she can sacrifice herself." Olivia immediately screamed, "I have early-stage cancer! Over 90% cure rate! Are you crazy? You're the one who's gonna die soon. Why not let Victor die?" He embezzled public funds to buy gifts for a female streamer, spending over $500,000. He's here at the reunion to borrow money from us. If he can't get money, he might as well die in the cupboard. Victor stood up and slapped her. "Get lost! What nonsense are you talking about? Even if I embezzled, I don't deserve to die. Besides, it was only a little over $500,000. My family can handle it." Victor's eyes shifted to Lance. "How about the son of that killer? His father was executed for murder. That evil gene must be inherited. His death would only benefit society." Lance lunged at Victor. "You're right. I do have an antisocial personality. If I die, I'll drag you with me. Get lost. Murderous genes should have gone extinct a long time ago." That statement sent Lance into a frenzy. From nowhere, he pulled out a knife and plunged it straight into Victor's chest. Blood spurted like a fountain, dyeing the area crimson. "Good. The second one, Victor." Lance held the knife, his eyes bloodshot. "Anyone else dare mention my father, I'll send them to hell to meet him." But as he finished speaking, he collapsed. Chris, who had appeared behind him without anyone noticing, brought down a sharp cut on his neck. "He truly has an antisocial gene." "The third one, Lance." The fourth was Finn, Chris's rival. He had drunk a lot of wine, his head spinning, leaning against a corner when Chris stabbed him to death with a single knife thrust. The fifth was Holly, murdered by her boyfriend, Kevin, who had always stood by her side. No one questioned the reason. The moment 5 victims were confirmed, click, the door to the second floor opened. Ryan pulled me. "Chloe, hurry!" As we went up to the second floor, there was no more water. Outside, the heavy rain continued relentlessly. "Quick, find a window to get out." Everyone scattered, searching every room for an exit. But after a round of searching, we discovered the third floor was a sealed space with no windows. "Break the wall!" 4 male students grabbed objects and violently struck the wall. Ryan shook his head. Useless. Only then did others realize the paint on the wall was peeling, revealing steel panels underneath. This was why the villa sank so quickly. This villa had been renovated, built near a river, with an underground river beneath it. The house's structure was entirely made of heavy steel. At this rate, in just 2 more hours, the entire villa would be completely submerged. Natalie trembled, bursting into tears. "What do we do? Are we all going to die here?" Ryan looked at his phone. Perhaps the only way to survive is to follow the message's instructions. The atmosphere was incredibly heavy. Everyone both hoped for and feared the next message. Very quickly, all our phones rang simultaneously. I quickly pulled out mine, but the moment I saw the message, my whole body felt doused in cold water. The message read, "The one in the gray hoodie is the killer. Find that person. Kill him." All eyes immediately turned to me, as I was the only one wearing a gray hoodie. Ryan, who had been holding my hand, immediately let go. "No! It can't be Chloe! She's been with us all this time." Though he said that, He took 2 steps back. But the message clearly says it's her. Only she in this room is wearing a gray hoodie. The message tells us to kill her. If we kill her, we can leave here. Kill her. I instantly became the target of everyone's hatred, pushed to the forefront. No matter how I explained, they wouldn't believe me. Just as everyone was listing my alleged crimes, all our phones rang simultaneously twice. This time, a video clip was sent. As soon as the video opened, everyone's eyes widened in shock. A name buried deep in our memories slowly resurfaced. Sarah. She was our high school classmate. On May 31st, 7 years ago, she jumped to her death. The police concluded it was a suicide. The video in the message showed Sarah standing on a rooftop, swaying precariously at the edge. In the corner, the camera captured her jumping down. For a fleeting moment, a person in a gray hoodie appeared. At the same time, another message was sent. Among you, there is someone who killed Sarah. Reconstruct the truth. Find the killer. Kill him. What kind of joke is this? Sarah clearly jumped herself. The police investigated. Now you're telling us to find the killer? Who was the person in the gray hoodie in the video? I know, it was Chris. He once said he tried to pull Sarah back but was too late. Ryan nodded. Right, I remember that too. The police also questioned Chris then. Plus, there's another angle that shows Sarah truly jumped herself. But the message says to reconstruct the truth. What truth is there if she committed suicide? The 3rd floor, though not yet submerged, was a sealed space. The air was becoming increasingly thin, making us more and more panicked. Everyone, don't panic. This space is less than 30 square meters. The more you panic, the faster your heart beats, the more oxygen you need. The remaining oxygen isn't enough for all 7 of us to breathe for long. Conserve it. The phrase, reconstruct the truth, kept echoing in my mind. Sarah didn't jump for no reason. Before her suicide, she had been bullied for 3 years. The bullies, Heather, Chris, Grace, were all dead now. I looked at Natalie, sitting opposite me. In 11th grade, you locked Sarah in the restroom and forced her to drink dirty toilet water. Natalie panicked. She didn't drink it. I just threatened her. Besides, that was in 11th grade. What does it have to do with her suicide in 12th grade? If you want to talk like that, Natalie looked at Jessica next to her. In 10th grade, Jessica photoshopped Sarah's sensitive pictures and posted them on the school network. Half the boys in school saw them. Jessica angrily retorted, I already apologized and was disciplined. What more do you want? Besides, those weren't real photos. I clarified that I photoshopped them. Sarah developed early. In PE, she wore tight clothes that showed off her chest. Who could resist? During puberty, when boys saw her like that, Sarah truly was the most beautiful girl in class. When everyone else was similar, she stood out. She didn't intentionally wear tight clothes. It was just that the school-issued sports uniform was no longer suitable for her figure. But that wasn't a reason for boys to make crude jokes. I silently listened as everyone exposed their own sins. My gaze shifted to Dylan, who had been sitting quietly all this time. And you? I looked at Dylan. In the first semester of 12th grade, you pasted Sarah's love letter on the bulletin board, embarrassing her in front of the whole school. Dylan looked a bit indignant. I didn't like her. Am I forced to accept her feelings? But if you didn't like her, why did you mislead her? Give her hope. Make her write a love letter. Was it fun to play with other people's feelings? You just wanted to show off that the most beautiful girl in class liked you. My words struck a nerve. Yes, he didn't like Sarah. He even looked down on her, thinking she was foolish. But he deliberately played ambiguous, making her misunderstand just for vanity. He even suggested Sarah write him a love letter so she would confess publicly. Then he would cruelly reject her in front of everyone. I quietly pulled out my phone. The camel's back isn't broken by the last straw, but by all the straws before it. Sarah didn't commit suicide. She was pushed off the rooftop by those who had bullied her. The 3 remaining culprits were Natalie, Jessica, and Dylan. After I sent the message, a reply quickly came. Correct answer. The ceiling opened, revealing a secret compartment. Several knives dropped down. At the same time, the next instruction was sent. Kill them. The first to grab a knife was Dylan. He was closest to the weapons. He gathered all the knives in his hands, his eyes filled with murderous intent, staring at us. "Wanna kill me? You're too green." Natalie and Jessica stood next to him. "Hey, Dylan, let us go first. Even though they outnumber us, they're unarmed. They're no match for us." Dylan thought for a moment, then threw each of the two girls a knife. The remaining unarmed people were me, Ryan, Sam, and Kyle. During the vote earlier, all the strong people were eliminated. Now, only amateurs remained. I am 5'3" tall and weigh 99 pounds. A strong gust of wind could blow me away. Sam was about my size, though male, he was under 5'7". Ryan and Kyle were both scholarly and frail, but the other side was also weak. The only difference was they had weapons. The situation was so tense no one dared to make the first move. Ryan, always the strategist, signaled with his eyes to Kyle. The two rushed towards Natalie. Though Natalie had a weapon, she couldn't withstand the strength of the two young men. She was pushed to the ground. Ryan immediately snatched the knife from her hand and slit her throat. Immediately after, Dylan and Jessica charged. Ryan used Natalie's corpse to shield himself, then pushed Kyle outwards. The two were hit by Kyle. Sam, next to me, was small but reacted quickly. He grabbed Dylan's leg. Ryan seized the opportunity and plunged a knife into Dylan's chest. Jessica and Kyle grappled with each other, fighting wildly, both injured on their backs and hands. Ryan quickly moved towards them, slitting Jessica's throat with one swift cut. In less than 10 minutes, the 3 people on the list were dead. I looked at the blood-soaked room, my senses numb with fear. I covered my mouth and huddled in a corner. "It's over! It's all over." Ryan wiped the blood from his hands. "Those who harmed her have paid their price. Can you let us out now?" He was covered in blood, screaming into the void, clearly on the verge of a mental breakdown. No one answered. A few minutes later, a photo was sent. Our high school graduation photo. The moment we saw it, we all broke down. Gray hoodie, gray hoodie. The uniform of Oakwood High was a gray hoodie underneath a white jacket. The graduation photo was taken in late April, late spring, early summer, with warm sunshine. At that time, we felt hot, so we all took off our jackets. Therefore, in the photo, everyone was wearing a gray hoodie. I suddenly remembered the first message I received. The one in the gray hoodie is the killer. It turns out, we were all the killers. She truly had returned for revenge. Sam's face was ashen. "None of us can get out, but I'm innocent. I never harmed her. There must be a mistake. It must be a misunderstanding," he mumbled. At the same time, another message was sent. "You are not innocent. Silence is complicity." Sam completely broke down. He screamed, cursed frantically. The air in the room became thinner and thinner. Water began to leak from the floor. Water continuously poured in, shrinking our living space. Ryan quietly handed me a knife. He whispered, "Before coming to this reunion, I called my family. If I don't call back before midnight, my mother will know something's wrong." He heard the rain outside had subsided significantly. The water level rising also slowed. But most importantly, oxygen. The remaining oxygen isn't enough for all 4 of us. It's 10 p.m. now. We just need to hold on a little longer. They'll call the police. We'll be saved. But on one condition. We must survive. I looked at the knife in my hand. "What do you mean?" "They'll try to steal our oxygen. Kill them. We've already killed 1 round. Another round won't make a difference." I didn't act, just quietly watched Ryan deal with Sam and Kyle. He came to me, sat down, and hugged me, sobbing. I'm sorry, I killed people. I killed so many people. But if I didn't, I couldn't protect you. I'm sorry. If we get out, I'll turn myself in. But I absolutely have to get you out. We'll escape, right, Chloe?" I stood up, wiping the blood off my face. "Of course we will." I walked to the upper left corner of the room, sat down, and gently tapped the floor tile 3 times. As the last tap echoed, the ceiling opened, and a ladder descended. Ryan showed no surprise. He followed me up the ladder. The 4th floor of the villa was an attic. In the attic, there was a skylight. Now, the rain had stopped. Climbing through the skylight above us was a bright moon. I reached out. Just opening the window, we could leave this villa. Ryan surveyed the attic, then carefully checked the skylight. The attic was just a normal attic, not renovated. The skylight was also just an ordinary glass pane. Ryan was both happy and scared. "Can we really get out?" I nodded. But the very next second, he pulled out a gun and pointed it straight at my head. "I'm sorry, Chloe. You've seen me kill. You've seen me kill too many people. I can't trust you." I felt for my pocket. It turned out that when he hugged me earlier, Ryan had secretly taken my gun. On the first floor, I saw you secretly open the bookshelf and take something, but I didn't know what it was. It wasn't until I hugged you just now that I felt it was a gun. I brought you into Chris's group, protected you, because I knew you had a way out. I wanted to keep you until the very end. He stood in a higher position, looking at me with a triumphant smirk. "I don't know who's helping you, but it doesn't matter. Now I have a gun in my hand. I'll kill you first, then kill them." He pulled the trigger without hesitation, but then he froze. The gun was loaded with blanks. He couldn't believe it. He fired a few more shots, all blanks. Ryan was enraged, but he remembered he still had a knife in his pocket. He holstered the gun, pulled out the sharp knife, and lunged to stab me. But the very next second, a gunshot rang out. The one who fell to the ground was Ryan. The skylight was opened by someone. A person, cloaked in moonlight, leaped down. They were both cool and arrogant. They smiled. Luckily, the last bullet was a real one. They glanced at me, full of disdain. Still soft-hearted, keeping him until the end. Truly foolish. Heather pulled me up. After the heavy rain, the bright moon hung high. The scenery at that moment was truly beautiful. We sat on the rooftop. Heather handed me a bottle of water. "When did you figure it out?" I thought for a moment. "A long time ago." "Why?" "You're right. Heather uses her right hand, but you use your left. When we got our nails done together, I noticed. But I thought it was just a habit that changed. Until tonight's dinner, you ate scallops. Something she hated most. That made me remember someone. I looked into her eyes. Sarah. She was left-handed and didn't eat seafood. She clinked bottles with me. You're quite clever. I killed her a long time ago. Her body is buried in the lowest basement of the villa. Many other people are buried down there too, including Principal Davis, the former principal. That's right. That year I did jump, but I didn't die. My mother died young. My father was a gambling addict. He only cared about money. Principal Davis gave him a large sum. My father took the money and abandoned me, leaving me at the hospital. After that, Principal Davis saved me. When she mentioned Principal Davis, Sarah's eyes filled with hatred. She wanted to speak, but stopped. After a long moment, she only uttered, "His death isn't enough." It's not hard to imagine what a beautiful but isolated girl went through. Later, I got money. Heather, wanting to be a celebrity, underwent countless plastic surgeries, transforming herself into a monster with a surgically altered face, where 9 out of 10 look alike. So, I had surgery to look like her. Long-lost classmates wouldn't recognize me. After saying that, she seemed to shed a heavy burden. I died at 18. Now, finally, I can live again. I tried to say something, but my vision darkened, and I collapsed. Before losing consciousness, I felt my body fall several meters, followed by intense pain. Sarah had pushed me back into the attic. I struggled to sit up. Why? Why? Sarah laughed coldly. I didn't kill you from the beginning, because you once helped me. Keeping you until the end was already very benevolent. She looked at me and sighed. In our final year of high school, the stray cat I raised was disemboweled and stuffed into my desk drawer. You told me Ryan did it, and when I was sobbing, you gave me a tissue. But I guess you've forgotten. The tissue you gave me was covered in broken glass fibers. And don't blame me for this. I've already warned you. I remembered many years ago, Sarah crying herself unconscious in front of me. That was the cat she loved most. I told her that the culprit was Ryan. She trusted me completely, saw me as her only friend. At that time, I offered her a tissue covered in glass fibers. I watched her wipe it into her eyes, then pretended to be innocent. Oh, I didn't know the tissue had glass. I just grabbed it from the table. Ryan, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. Such a small piece of glass, I didn't see it. You can't blame me for this. Her eyes were injured. Watching her in pain, a feeling of pleasure surged within me. Dopamine coursed through my nerves. That sensation was addictive. So, at this reunion filled with murderous intent, I saw through it all early on, but I enjoyed every moment. I just never expected that the last one to die would be me. Before I died, one final thought flashed through my mind. Don't drink the orange, colored drink. It contains extreme poison. I don't know if, given the chance to go back in time, I would warn Sarah not to use that tissue with the glass shards. The heavy rain poured down again. The rain washed everything clean, washing away sins, washing away the mud from the soles of shoes. The massacre at the villa, the Oakwood class reunion, was brought to light. The former principal of Oakwood High School, Principal Davis, after being fired for academic fraud, began live streaming on dark web. Initially, he live streamed harassing his adopted daughter, earning a good sum of money. As his adopted daughter grew older, she no longer suited the tastes of his special audience. He began to abuse her until one day she told him, "Now, sponsors prefer."